Are there skills that can't and maybe won't be replaced by AI? That is a question that economist and futurist Linda Nazareth has pondered. I spoke with her earlier and asked what skills she feels may be AI-proof.
Resilience, creativity, empathy, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity, service orientation, and teaching and mentoring. Now, you may have your favorites from that. There may be a longer list that people think are important. But I think for organizations and for individuals, developing these skills gives you a little bit of armor against all the changes ahead.
What can you tell us about the impact of AI on the labor market and jobs? I think it's safe to say the impact may come in waves and phases, but a lot of people are worried about this.
And, I think there's a legitimate worry there. We are really changing the technology in a way that we haven't before. We've had industrial revolutions. We've brought in computers. At one point people said, oh my goodness, you're going to have people checking their own groceries and getting their money out of banks without using bank tellers. We're not going to have anybody working in banks. And that didn't turn out to be true. We still have lots of people working in finance and in retail. This is somewhat different. This actually can replace job functions.
In June, I covered what many analysts call the quiet disappearance of roles or fractions of jobs, but you add them all up and they equal a certain number of full-time positions over time being replaced by AI. How difficult is it to quantify the AI disruption when it comes to jobs? Because a lot of analysts and economists do hesitate. It's tough.
It is, and it's going to change all the time. Are we talking about 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? I think it'll just mean a different workforce. I think there might be fewer jobs. The question here, though, Anne, is not will there be fewer jobs? It'll be if there's an increase in productivity and profits, who will own that? Will it flow to workers at all? Will there be some benefits there? Will it be a small number of people? Will it show up in tax revenues? It's not as simple as saying there'll be fewer positions. If we could all work less, I mean, that used to be in the 1960s, I believe, the belief that technology would make it easier to get the work done and we'd all work 3 days a week and make the same amount of money. And I think we have to ask those questions again.
I want to talk about the disruption on blue-collar jobs and white-collar jobs. I think at the beginning there was a big focus on, the blue-collar jobs that could be disrupted by automation, and now there's a lot of head-scratching over those entry-level white-collar jobs. What can you tell us about that?
What we actually are seeing now is that companies are using technology to replace what used to be entry-level workers. So the graduates who wanted to come in the workforce and start doing simple tasks, move up, aren't being offered those jobs. It's a real concern of mine because how are you going to have the middle and higher level workers if you don't train them? It's particularly a concern right now because the economy is slowing, there's concerns and companies are cutting back for whatever reason. And of course, you look for efficiencies where you can. So I think it does need to be addressed. I think there has to be a commitment to keep bringing people in and training them. Always easier said than done because it costs money.
Food for thought. Thank you so much for your time and your insight. That is economist and futurist Linda Nazareth.